This is the audio logs for Commander Wasted, date 04/8/77. So it seems I passed out welding yesterday and didn't wake up until early hours of the morning, and then in my daze immediately stumbled off the roof of the base. Fortunately the landing is soft, it's snow, so didn't beat myself up too much further. One thing that gave me a bit of hope before sleeping was there was a couple of extra indicator lights on the medbay suggesting some of the tests had completed while I was out. But with nothing else to do in the dark and still aching beyond belief, I'm gonna try and sleep a bit further. Maybe I feel so much better just from being out for a few hours. Maybe this will help more. Well, it seems I was kind of right about the medbay. Some of the scans have completed, but we're still a decent distance from the full tests. What I do know so far is I don't seem to have any form of blood poisoning, and as far as my physical results are concerned, I have no broken bones, nothing in that region, there's no noticeable internal bleeding. The remaining scans now focus very heavily on literally what's going on in my head, so maybe there'll be something to be learnt there. What it does mean is that, again, today is a day where I do not know what's going on, so feeling a bit more upbeat, honestly, and feeling a little bit more together after finally getting some sleep. I think I might look at recovering the 2 batteries that are up by the wreck. It's the only things we left behind because I had no way of grinding them down without destroying them. But I could really use that extra power. We've perhaps got enough parts to break down in the assembler to make maybe 1 more battery for the base, but that's going to be it. I mean, even the drone is useless until I can finish off its power. So I think it's important I work on something to sort that out, and my best guess, I think, is to build something to actually try and pick it up and transport it. I used to moonlight doing repair work for a construction firm back in the day, so I've seen plenty of pretty heavy lifting equipment. So I think with a bit of ingenuity I can probably copy something along those sort of lines. The biggest difficulty is going to be how to control it. So I guess, at least while I'm feeling clear, my head's not pounding quite so bad as it was yesterday, I'm going to sit down and try and figure out a control system for this and how the hell the mechanics are going to work. I've got limited components, so there's no way I can just go and try something out. I'm going to have to plan this in advance and just hope beyond hope it works, because everything left is going to get poured into this thing just in the hope we can bring some power back. So let's get this started. Something to carry it, so maybe I'll do, maybe a trailer that attaches to the existing rover. That should be nice and efficient. That cuts down the need for it to have its own propulsion. Should also mean that we can recharge it if need be off the trailer, and it won't need much in the way of battery power. So that's great, but then some way, how are we going to lift this thing? So battery's big, his battery's heavy. So maybe a crane? Yeah, something like that. Something like a truck lift even, perhaps. But it's starting to get dark and I'm starting to feel a little uneasy. In fact, I think we'll save that for tomorrow. So today we managed to get most of the frame done for the truck bed, but as it started to get dark and I started to get more tired, the head pounding has started to come back again. I don't think I am completely fine still. This was more than just a bit of sleep, but energy levels are much higher than they have been in previous days, so I'm going to set back off on this in the morning. Finally in a position where we can run with power overnight, so not only do I have the cameras running, but I also have the medbay running overnight, so finally I can get some results and get some sort of idea what the hell's going on. Current estimate now, the power's running and I can actually see what's going on with the medbay is probably another 24 hours. But what that does mean is, hopefully, I will have been able to put this vehicle together and actually run out and test it prior to the results coming through. So I'm going to try and sleep again. We still have no doors, so that's definitely going to be a priority for tomorrow. Now we've got power, I can have doors, and I think I'll feel just a little bit better than that. This is the audio log for Commander Wasted, date 05/8/77. Just woken up, feeling pretty fresh still actually. The head pounding seems to have died down a bit, and medbay is already running. Looking forward to those results. So, given I've filled in everything about the crane build yesterday, things still going well, I'm going to dive straight in. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So, crane itself, we're going to want multiple joints. And how am I going to even lift this thing? I guess I can use like a ship landing gear, essentially, something with a magnetic clamp. That should work just fine. So, multiple axes of movement with a clamp on the end. That's fine, but what happens if it's too far away? What happens if I can't get close enough to the target? Okay, so we're going to need to extend the crane as well. So let's put a piston in there too. So we'll have multiple joints with the piston. Yeah, this should work. Things are progressing nicely with the crane today, although I did decide that we should probably put some method of locking the thing down in place, just in case the battery turns out to be much heavier than I expected. Rather than slap it on straight away, I ran a couple of simulations through the computer, and God am I thankful I did. The results were catastrophic, to say the least. But what it does mean is I am now fully prepared. The crane design, I believe, is now complete. The only thing left to do is finish welding the thing together and go and give it its first test drive. The truck is now up and running, but I haven't had a chance to test it. Again, the tiredness has started hitting me much harder than it should have done. 2 days building this vehicle has also taken it out of me to quite an extreme level, so rather than go out and do any testing now, I'm going to have a final night's sleep. The turrets are up, so I feel pretty damn secure now. And then tomorrow, before we set out and do anything more, we should have the medbay results. After feeling almost elated the last few days, the fact that this has come back and is still starting to pound away at my head, I somewhat fear what those results will contain. Anyway, this is Commander Wasted signing out.